Yeah, that was Mr. Bernard Kabweze with Seun Okinbaloye Politics Today last night, and we get a bit of assurance there. Hopefully his calculation is right, and if our revenue is okay, that means we would know that what we're funding, at least the deficit we're funding, will be the one that's about 8 trillion naira. Now, there's another disturbing news, which is reports that point of sale, that's POS operators, have returned to buying cash from traders and petrol station attendants as banks suffer from a shortage of naira cash. Consequently, some operators have increased their transaction charges by almost 100% or more, from 100 to 200 for 5,000 naira, that is. And some individuals have also noted that banks are struggling to pay customers who want to withdraw their money due, especially those who are asking for large sums of money. These reports have come from Plateau State, as well as some banks in Surulere, Mushin, Kirikiri, Mazamaza, and Ejigbo areas of Lagos State. So let's not just wait for this report or dwell on this report. Let's get a first-hand information from the National Vice President of the Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents in Nigeria. He's also the Chief Executive Officer of Upswing Consulting and Training Limited. Dr. Obioha Oti joins us virtually from Aja in Lagos. Dr. Oti, thank you so much for your time. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great. So what's the situation in reality when it comes to this issue of banks' cash shortage?
If you recall, the last time I appeared on this station, I mentioned that we may likely have a situation like this if some necessary things are not. The situation is very dire because in most parts of Lagos, and in fact, most parts of the country, we've had reports of a lot of cash shortages, not only in agents' points of sale, but in major financial institutions. So some of the financial institutions that are in urban areas, you may not have the kind of difficulty in accessing cash as much as it's in remote areas. However, there is general cash crunch. And though it has not gotten as bad as it was in February, but if the necessary measures are not put in place quickly, then there will definitely be a lot more problem that we will have in our hands.
I mean, the Supreme Court has ruled that the old naira can continue to work or be used along with the new naira notes. And we've even seen numbers from the central bank on an upsurge in, money in circulation. So what can we trace this to? Is it just apprehension by Nigerians?
Nigerians are good in this kind of thing. Like the previous time I was here, I talked about the monetization policy, the monetization policy by the CBN, and I equally said that I believe that very ruling of the Supreme Court should be vacated, and thankfully the CBN has vacated, and the Supreme Court has vacated that ruling. So now Nigerians, in our usual way, most of the time we try to preempt certain things. Like I'm sure a lot of people preempted that ruling will not be vacated. So they try to hoard cash in so many places. Then another thing is that information flows very slowly in Nigeria. There are people that may not be aware that this ruling has been vacated by the Supreme Court. But I know that the CBN has tried as much as possible to disseminate this information. The CBN has written banks and several other financial institutions. And the financial institutions has equally written many of their customers. But because of our low literacy rate in Nigeria, it is difficult to pass information across. So that is why a lot of people may not be abreast with this information. And so we try to behave in a way that cause situations like that to happen.
So do you think that maybe some Nigerians are hoarding cash at home? Is that what's happening?
Oh,
hello, Dr. Oti, can you hear me?
Yes, people do that. But there are other issues that we may have to look at. For instance, you know that this time around is the time for a lot of farmers that are selling their produce. So now, most of these farmers that are selling their produce are located in remote areas, and a number of them don't have accounts. So the more they sell, the more cash they hold. You know, that kind of thing, especially in places like the north. So now, when they are selling and they saving their cash, their money in cash, and that is another form of holding cash. And you will expect that some of them will start releasing this cash by the time they want to now start buying seeds for the next planting season. So these are some of the challenges. And you know that usually during the later season, these kind of things usually happen in Nigeria. So the stakeholders that are concerned are supposed to have preempted that this kind of thing will happen and put the necessary measures in place. However, it's not late for the government and all the stakeholders to quickly put head together and get this thing resolved quickly. Because if it is not resolved between now and next week, then definitely we are going to see more serious situation on ground.
So the reports that I saw online says that POS operators, which is your association, members of your association, are now buying cash. Unfortunately, like what we had at this time last year and early this year, they're now having to buy cash.
Before now, if you go to, for instance, a filling station, a petrol station, or a retail store and related businesses like that, they will be very grateful to release their cash to you because you save them the trouble of going to queue in the bank to make deposit before now. But because they know that you are in dire need of the cash, they would rather sell the cash to you instead of voluntarily releasing it to you to go. And if you are not interested in buying it, then they will keep their cash because they know that you will not have any cash to do your business. So that is the reason. And this has given rise to so many other things that...
So is that what is happening now, Dr. Oti? Are you guys buying cash from attendants in the petrol station?
You know, we are abreast with information with many of our members across the country. So most of the places that they usually get cash for free, because if you go to most of the banks now, you will not really get cash. And some of the banks have gone back to putting limits, you know, to how much you can withdraw from the bank. And even these little amounts that you want to withdraw, some of the banks you go to, you will not have the opportunity of withdrawing them. So when you now meet some of these retail outlets that you usually get cash without much conditions just to go and deposit on their behalf, then they will tend to sell it to you. And when that happens, that increases your cost to serve. And these are the challenges that most of the agents are having, not only in the urban areas, but in the remote areas as well.
So what are the banks telling you when you go there to get cash and you say they're not giving you maybe the amounts you want? What excuse do they give for that?
Anyway, we have not really gotten anything from the management of banks. But if you come to, like some of the information our members give us, if you come to the operators within the bank, that is the front-end staff, the tellers and all that, they will tell you that what they are dispensing to you is the much that they have been given out to pay, you see. So, but we've planned to put certain things in place, right, the management of some of these financial institutions, so that we will likely understand what exactly is the problem on ground. But we know that it is related to the ruling of the Supreme Court and some other factors that are too numerous for us to mention here.
All right, so you did say that if something is not done between now and next week, that might get to a dire situation. What do you think can be done?
You see, when your cost to serve increases, definitely you have to add money on top of it to be able to be profitable. Now, who is the person that is suffering it? Is the person that is at the last end of the ecosystem. That is the customer. So some of the operators, POS operators, that usually give out like 5,000, you withdraw it with 100 naira. Some of them have resorted, because they have now buying the cash, they have now increased the cost of withdrawal. Sometimes you need to withdraw 10,000 naira with 200. Now, in some places, it has to be 400. And not only the challenges of cash, there are so many other problems that agents are struggling with now. For instance, there is this highly disturbing trend that some of the state governments have started taxing the POS operators heavily. I can mention so many of the states. We have reports from Akwa Ibom State, we have reports from Cross River State, we have reports from Anambra State, we have reports from states in the southwest and some of the states in the north. For instance, that of Anambra, there is this agency that the state government commissioned to be collecting 100 naira every day from agents. And then agents will pay 2,500 naira every month, and they will pay 1,000 naira to register. If you do all this calculation, you will be finding out that one agent in Anambra State will be paying at least 30,000 naira, to the state government in form of taxes. And sometimes the people coming to collect these taxes are not just one agency. Maybe one agency will collect, then another one will come back and all that. And so POS operators in different states are passing through a lot of challenges. And then this cash challenge now has really made it worse. So something really has to be done, because we are gradually approaching the Christmas season. A lot of people will need cash to run one thing or the other. So it will even get worse, just like
all right, we pray it doesn't get worse, Dr. Birauti. We will follow up on that story you've hinted on, which is taxation.
Yes,
of,
very, very important.
POS operators.
The state governors, particularly, the state governors need to know, because some of these things, I want to believe that some of these taxes are really illegal taxes. Because in the process of trying to negotiate with some of the people that are issuing these demand notices, for instance, the one in Anambra, where I told our chairman, the state chairman there, to go and make this. You begin to notice that there are some things that are not right. So I want the state governors themselves to really pay attention to this, because if you make life difficult for the average agent, you are directly attacking what they are doing in order to deepen financial inclusion. All
right, Dr. Oti, thank you so much. We really have to stop there, but we promise you that we're going to follow up. I'll reach out to our correspondents in various states to find out, what's going on around there, and we'll probably reach out to you again. But thank you so much, National Vice President, Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents in Nigeria, for sharing your thoughts with us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. All right. We'll really have to call on the Central Bank of Nigeria to see what's going on around the issue of the threat of cash shortage. I mean, we cannot afford to go through that again. If you cast our minds back to early this year, late last year, it was horrible for a lot of Nigerians, especially the small spenders, those in the rural areas. So we do call on government agencies, the central bank, please, if this is artificial, do help us fix it. Our job here at Channels Television, as with other media houses, is to bring the issues to your notice. Let's take a break now. When we come back on Business Morning, commodities market and the issues around it will be up next.